Well, hello everybody. How's it going today? You guys know the routine. We're on the bench, black coffee, stuff's gonna happen. I love black coffee. It's so good. I can't put cream and sugar in it. I used to when I was young, but not anymore. It tastes horrible after you drink it black for a while. So, we got the greatest Telecaster on planet Earth, in my opinion, out today. This is a Squire Affinity that I bought from a guy down the road for $50. It was basically brand new. I have played this thing a ton. It's hit the cement floor a few times. It's got all kinds of little beauty marks and whatnot. I changed the bridge saddles out, uncovered the neck pickup just to give it some more clarity. I was going to change it, but when I took the cover off, that really gave it some clarity, and it sounds great. Made a string tree, a 3-tree, and changed the tuners. I've been through this thing multiple times, but the last jam I was in, it shorted out on me, and that's why. So I've glued this a couple times, and I've had enough. So what we're going to do is put a standard Telecaster, cup and jack plate in here. So what you have is this. Now this is just a, a piece of metal. What's going to happen is that needs to go up inside the body this distance, the thickness of this thimble right here, okay? So that way that sits flush to the outside. Now, how are we going to do that? Well, I'm about to show you. I made a tool to do it, and I'm going to share that with you right now and give you a quick description on how this works, and we'll take everything out and put the new one in. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I bought these pieces on eBay, $7.20 for the cup and the little jack plate that goes inside. So what's going to happen is this. Let me get this little thing apart, and I'll show you how this works. Okay, so what you want to do is get yourself a piece of 3/8 all thread here, okay? And then what I've got here is 2 washers. All right. And you got a nut and a washer here left. Just leave that on there, okay? Now, let me get that out of the way. Okay, so what we got here is a 5/8 socket, 3/8 drive. So the 3/8 all thread will go through it. Now you see I've got tape wrapped around this, about that thickness, probably 1/8 of an inch or so, roughly. Now what's going to happen is this. We're going to take this tool, okay? What this tape does, this is a stop, basically, okay? So when we put this in the guitar through the jack hole, this tape will come up against the body, and that sets this distance right here, okay? And I can measure that for you here in a second. Let's do it right now and get it over with. Okay, so basically you're looking at about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little less, maybe 3/16, something like that. Okay, so it's better to let it be a little bit deeper. You don't want the jack thimble, sticking out away from the guitar, because remember, this is going to come up against this piece that we're going to install in the body. Okay, it'll all make sense in a minute. Bear with me. So what we do, we take 1 washer, we'll put that on, we'll put this on, this piece that we're going to install. We're going to put another washer like that, and then we're going to put 2 nuts on this end, okay? So what we're going to do, we'll take a wrench and we'll lock those 2 nuts together, okay? Now, this is what it looks like. So what's going to happen is this. We're going to shove this inside the guitar. This tape will hit against the body, okay? We're going to hold this other end of the threaded rod, which I should just weld a nut on there and get it over with, or a T-handle, but I'm just going to grab this with a pair of vice grips to hold it. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to tighten this nut, right? As we tighten this nut, you can see it's pushing it's actually going to pull this, because this is going to be against the body to stop it. So it's going to, as we tighten, it's going to pull these together. It's going to flatten that little jack plate out, and that's going to wedge it into the body of the guitar. You just turn this, tighten this until it stops, and then you got it. Once that flattens out, you take it all apart, pull this out of the guitar, and this little piece right here will be left inside the guitar. You put your jack through it, put this cup in there, and have the jack come out through, and put your nut on there, and then you're all done. Pretty simple, and it works really well. So again, this is something you can make. I just had this stuff laying around the shop, so I've used this tool, I don't know, 5 or 6 times already, doing some repairs and changing stuff out for other people that want to do away with that, 4-screw plastic thing that they put on them. So this is just a better fit. It actually looks legit too, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's how it works. And it's pretty simple, like I said. Now, you want to make sure you have a washer on this side of the socket, because it needs to spin freely. And like I said, as you tighten this nut, you're going to hold this with the vice grips and tighten this nut. And as you do, it's going to pull this together. And eventually, it's going to flatten this jack plate out, like I said, and it's going to wedge it right into the body. And then you just loosen it up, pull it out, you're good to go. This is important. This distance actually determines how far inside the guitar that this plate will be left, okay? So you got to get that right. And again, it's roughly about 1/4 of an inch, and you're home free. Okay? Well, that's the explanation on the tool. And so now we're going to take the old jack plate out, and we're going to leave the jack right in there. I'm just going to push it up and out of the way and leave it in the cavity. We'll do what we got to do. Pull the tool out, put the jack back down through, install the cup, put a nut on it, and we should be sound as a pound. Okay, here we go. Okay, here's the remnants of the plastic, cheese ball thing they put on these guitars. And yes, you're going to have 4 screw holes to fill. I just put a daub of super glue in, push a toothpick in there, let it dry, clip it off, sand it down or whatever. If the body's a different color, you can, daub the end of the toothpick after you flush it down with a marker or whatever you got, paint, anything, or just leave it. Again, I know you guys are probably thinking I would never set a cup of coffee on my guitar, but that is exactly why I love these patch casters, these cheap, get yourself a Squire, take one guitar like a Squire, and just start modding it. Ding it, beat it, do whatever you want to do to it. And man, it's so less frustrating when you're working on them, because it doesn't matter if you scratch it or anything. I would never do this to anybody else's guitar, obviously, but that's what I love about these. You got to have 1 or 2 that you not that you don't care about it, but you just don't worry about it. If it hits the floor, it hits the floor. This one seems to enjoy it. So anyway, here we go. We got these, we've got that plate out. I'm just going to push the jack up through here and get that out of the way. So there's the jack. Now the jack seems good. I might clean it up a little bit or something, but I'm just going to get it out of the way for now. And I want to make sure this cup fits in there, and it does, so we're good to go. I got the nut and the washer that goes to the jack right there. So I think we're ready to go here, guys, and I'm going to change the camera around so you guys can see what's going on, and we'll get right to it. Okay, guys, here we go. So what we're going to do, like I said, I'm going to loosen this up a little bit, and this can be a little tricky to get in there, but I may have to open that hole up. I got to look at that. I think I do. It's been a while since I've done one, so let me take this tool apart real quick. I may have to widen that out. I think I'm going to have to, honestly, if I remember right. Let's see. So we're going to take this little guy, and yeah, we're going to have to make the hole a little bit bigger just to flatten that out. Okay, so I just got a burring tool in my drill here, and what I'm doing is just kind of widen this out. Remember, it don't have to be perfect. You can drill it too if you'd like. I mean, that's certainly an option, but you know that thimble's going to cover a lot. So what we got to do though is we got to be able to get this plate through. And as you can see, it's got a curve to it. So when that flattens out, it's going to spread into the wood. So, but we need to get it into the guitar somehow. Now we're pretty close. I'm going to have to take it a little bit more. That's all. Okay. Okay, well, I think we're good to go. So you don't have to go all the way in there. You only have to go in, really that much. And it doesn't matter which way you put this thing on. It's going to flatten it out. Either way you do it. So just remember, you need to have a washer here, okay, in front of the socket, then the jack plate piece. Another washer goes here, and this is what flattens it out when we squish them together, okay? So what we got to do is put two nuts on this end. We have one on this end, okay? And I'm going to show you how this all goes down here in a second. Okay, so we're going to wind these down a little bit. And we're going to end up probably just locking them together. It really doesn't make any difference either way you do it. Okay, so the biggest thing is this. Let me readjust the camera. Okay, so when you push this in, this needs to sit flush against the wood, okay? Now what I'm going to do is tighten this nut up a little bit, just to get us started. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to clamp a set of vice grips on here. Eventually, like I said, I'm going to make maybe a T-handle, or just put a nut on there and weld it to the end. You could probably even super glue one on there and it would work. Okay, so this is just to hold the tool from spinning. So when we tighten this nut, it's going to pull the other two nuts, the two washers, and the jack plate towards us, okay? And what that's going to do is it's going to squeeze that in, and this holds it at the right depth. So when it's done, it's perfect, and you can't miss, okay? Okay, here we go. So what you got to do is you got to hold that in, just push it in. Kind of hold it in there tight if you can. I just put my thumb over the end, and we're just going to start tightening this up. Again, you could take a wood rasp or a round file and widen that hole out if you need to do two. Sanding drum, if you had the right size drill bit, which I did not have the right size one, so I had to do it with a burring tool. There's all kinds of ways to get there. So right now I'm still holding this pressure in, not a ton, but I don't want it, I want that right up flush, okay? And you just keep going. You'll feel it tighten up eventually. I could probably even shorten my piece of all thread up and, you know, it might speed it up, but I've done it this way and it works great, so I'm not going to change now. And you can buy these tools too already made. They're not that expensive either, probably 20 bucks or something, but you can make one yourself a lot cheaper. Okay, so it's starting to tighten up on me now, a little bit now. I'm just going to keep going until I can't move it anymore. We're getting there. Okay, that should be it. Now we're just going to reverse the process here. So loosen that right out. Now what we got to do is, as I loosen this, let me zoom you out a little bit more. Okay, so as I loosen this, right, I'm going to loosen this up, and we want to push that in because we need to get those nuts off the back side here and get those loosened up. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of holding those nuts in here, you know, the two nuts that jam together to just kind of hold everything in place. Unscrewing those from the threaded rod. Okay. And we want to get those out of there, obviously. And there may be a washer in there too. Yeah, I can see the washer is actually stuck in behind the jack plate, so that looks pretty good. Okay, folks, so that's what you get in the end. And that squishes that jack plate right into the guitar. Now all I have to do is run my jack through it, put this over it, and knot and washer, and we're done. I'll fill these in with a toothpick, or I might even just leave them in this case. So that's pretty much the whole gist of it. And like I said, once you get that locked in there, you're golden. You know, it only takes a few minutes to do it as well. So, well, thanks again, folks, for tuning in. I apologize for yesterday's video on the Shocking Blue tune, Venus. I did totally botch the intro. I had the strumming pattern right, but I didn't do them in the right spot. So, you know, it is what it is. One of the viewers, his name's Billy, he actually commented and said, hey, you can't hit a home run every time. And he is absolutely right. I was going to take it down. Well, I thought about it, and then I was like, no, that's not what this channel's about. We're not about perfection. We're just about, you know, just getting the job done, basically. It doesn't matter how we get there sometimes, and sometimes I take the long way home, but it is what it is, folks, as long as it works, right? Okay, we'll see you guys real soon. I hope this helps you guys out. You know, on a regular telly, like I said, I don't think you'd have to widen the hole out. It should be ready to go. But on these guys, you do. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. And we should be good to go. Okay, thanks again. We'll see you guys real soon. Be good. Okie doke.